I guess we'll head on to the next topic.
Elliot Page, on the other
think
hand,
is
that's quite a lot to say.
yes, particularly for stuff within the community.
I'm probably going to be jumping in a lot on this one just because,
Yep, I
trans
understand.
man.
That's absolutely fine. So, for those of you who have been living under a rock somewhere, I do apologise. My lungs are currently in the process of trying to kill me. Juno, Umbrella Academy, and X-Men star Elliot Page came out as trans in an open letter to fans. They go by both they and he pronouns. I haven't seen anything like. I saw a lot of people claiming they were trans man, but I've not seen any confirmation from them. Like how they refer to themselves, I don't think they have exactly specified yet. I could be wrong on that. If I am wrong, please don't tell me. But yeah, so it's been really. This came out the same day that we got the High Court ruling. Everyone was feeling absolute fucking crap about that. So to see Elliot Page, someone that has already been like a well-established part of, the current culture, etc., to see him come out and just, like, express that, like, this is me, here's how you refer to me, etc., it has been wonderful. It's been uplifting to many people. It may not be as important as policy and stuff, but it is. It's representation. It's something for people to look up to, and it inspires them.
It's also a bit harder for institutions, I think, to be cruel to Elliot the way they can be cruel to not famous trans people. Things like the Elliot's credits have been changed as they should, because they know they can't get away with being transphobic.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like in previous cases where people like the Wachowski sisters, when they came out, it took a decade for like all of their credits to be changed online, because like
there's also
groups
the
like
whole thing.
IMB etc. just refused to do it.
There's also the whole thing with when Caitlyn Jenner came out. There's a whole, does she get to keep her medals? Because she couldn't earn them again if she tried now, and which is really weird because I imagine a very old Olympian. Yeah. Did you know that when you transition, you become a completely different person, and the things you did before your transition don't count anymore? Apparently, for some reason.
It's creating a new save file. But yeah, so like Netflix, etc., updated Elliot's like the credits and stuff. Wikipedia was updated almost immediately. Like people were like really happy about how fast that was all done.
And it kind of, I feel like now that we've seen them treat trans people well in this one case, it's going to be harder for them to get away with mistreating us
in future,
saying, "Oh, we can't do the right thing for whatever bullshit excuse," because it's like you did though. Very slowly backing them into a corner. Very slowly.
Sorry. Of course, there was transphobic backlash, with a number of vocal bigots crying about how they'd lost a lesbian. So, yeah. I imagine you have some very strong thoughts on...
Yeah. I would love to mansplain about this. I know it's kind of rich for me to talk about the whole lesbian exclusionism thing, but like, as much as I've never identified as a lesbian, I did nearly identify as both bi and gay, so I do kind of understand the whole thing.
But that's the thing, they don't care. Every trans man is seen as a butch lesbian. They do
that was
not.
Actually...
That's like...
that was the thing. They keep, every time a trans man comes out, they cry about how they've lost a lesbian, despite the fact that a lot of trans men are gay or bi. When I first came out, I identified as gay. Not a lesbian in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter what my gender is. I'm not going to be interested in women until I was. So, it's just a complete erasure of the complexities of trans men's identities. And And it's very clearly based on this logic that being butch and being lesbian are the same thing. That if you're masculine, you must obviously be attracted to women. Which, hey, did you know that's a really homophobic idea? So these people who are crying about losing lesbians and like death of the lesbian community because trans men exist are actually really, really, really homophobic.
Yeah.
And the other thing I did was I did a very salty tweet about how a lot of these people are lesbian exclusionists.
Mm-hmm.
If someone identifies as a non-binary lesbian, no, you're not a lesbian. Someone identifies as a bi-lesbian, no, you're not a lesbian. Someone is a trans woman or trans feminine identifies as a lesbian, no, you're not a lesbian. But then when trans men come out, suddenly it's crying about losing lesbians.
We don't even know if they're a trans man. That they could be non-binary for all we know. They haven't specified.
Yeah.
And they might still hold to the label lesbian. We don't know.
You see, that's the thing. You're not allowed to be trans, masculine, or lesbian. So this is a problem of their own creation.
Mm-hmm.
They're forcing a bunch of people out of the lesbian community. They're being extremely gatekeepy, making the definition of a lesbian smaller and smaller and smaller, and then complaining that there aren't many lesbians. Hey, I wonder why.
Well, it's not just the fact that, it's not just the fact that, the people coming in, trans or whatever, is also the fact that a lot of fucking lesbians are getting tired with the shit. And are just avoiding the fucking TERFs who are aligning themselves with, people who are targeting LGBT plus folks, single mothers, abortion access, going after women's rights, etc. Surprisingly, they don't want to be around the gender critical crowd. It's almost like they have some self-respect.
Of course, there's all discussion around this is very objectify and kind of it's stripping trans mass people of their autonomy. This idea of you being trans means that we've lost a lesbian. There's that whole thing of
it's crying by an empty
being
grave.
A lesbian.
It's crying by an empty grave, expecting the person to fill it rather than be themselves and be happy.
That too, but it's just like there's not much to say about this. It's not a complicated point. But it really creeps me out how these transphobic, homophobic lesbians think that they're owed trans men pretending to be lesbians.
If you look at the way cis heterosexual men talk about lesbians, it's fucking identical. Thank you, dear.
Which also...
Sorry.
It also makes it kind of rich, I think. The idea of trans. I imagine these people are the same people who say that trans men escape misogyny by transitioning, or transition to escape misogyny, and here they are being really misogynistic to us.
Mm-hmm.
It's very creepy. I don't like it. I don't like lesbians acting like they owed sexual access to me. I don't like them acting like I don't have autonomy and don't know who I am, and denying my sexuality and denying my gender expression, a whole bunch of things. It's really gross. Can they stop, please? I don't like it.
Believe me, it's a lot worse when they talk about fucking minors.
Yeah.
That gets into really creepy areas. They fucking post photos of minors going for HRT, puberty blockers, and they make sexually explicit remarks about them. It's fucking disgusting. I've seen this fucking behavior online. It's such a waste. There's such a cute lesbian, and all this. And it's that's a fucking minor. You're in your fucking 40s. What the fuck are you doing? I
also hate that. It's such a waste, as if someone living their life.
Another one is, which is funny because it's used against puberty blockers, but doesn't make fucking sense, is the painting of waiting and listening from affirming, and affirming care has a pile of breasts that have been cut off. It's Actually, if you use puberty blockers, that tissue
They
doesn't
don't-
grow. That's the whole fucking point. But yeah, so
That's also a really weird thing. I'm gonna cry over breasts that are being cut off. The only reason, I guess, to cry over breasts that are being cut off if it's from cancer, just because it's a representation of like suffering. But getting my top surgery was a really good thing, people. It was really good. If I didn't get it, I might not be alive right now. Why are you crying over discarded breast tissue? That's really weird. Maybe you should care more about me, the actual person with thoughts and feelings in the life, than some fucking tissue that grew in my body for a while.